Right then, you lovely lot. Are you ready, Chris? Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
We are out with the awesome Kristian Johns today. We're going to do a little babby podcast because for all you wonderful members on our Access Only channel, we're going to go right. That sounds a bit wrong, but we're going to go in depth with Kristian today and get his take on shallow fishing. Yeah, it did go a bit high. It does every now and again. I can fully assure you though that they have dropped. But before we go into that, because we've got to prime the swim up first, we're going to do a podcast on what it takes to sort of potentially be a full-time angler and, you know, getting into it potentially, you know, if you want to start off, because obviously Kristian's there now, real young lad is Chris, he's only 24.
24,
Make me sick, man, you make me sick, and obviously won so many big events, obviously we'll go through that later, but it's how he's got into, well, basically making a living out of it. So Chris, how have you made a living out of fishing?
Well,
and we got Richard on the go as well, so Richard can ask a few questions. But I think, no, joking apart, it's phenomenal because obviously I remember when I first started coaching, I was 27, 28, and then that was young then.
Yeah.
And obviously I know you've been doing it for sort of like at least a couple of years, haven't you?
yeah, so I probably fell into it a bit by just people...
Don't fall in, mate. I'll come rescue you.
People just asking me, you know, do you do any coaching, or could you take me out and show me shallow fishing, edge fishing, stuff like that? And I started taking more just people at Weston where I used to go fishing a bit, and they'd ask me and I'd want to take them on. And then just going from there really, and then I started to do it more and more.
Yeah.
Obviously through the lockdown, I used to work a bit with Mike Gallimore.
Oh, right, okay.
And I used to do a bit of work with him, and that stopped through the lockdown. So then after the lockdown, I thought, when we were allowed to go back out fishing and start mixing, that I'm going to start maybe having a bit more of a push with me coaching. I started advertising it a bit more,
yeah,
and it just grew on from there, really.
It's mad how it goes, isn't it? Because obviously, I don't know if you've got a website. I've got a website, but I don't really get much from that. It's all word of mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously the fact that you're fishing so many matches and you're winning these big events, your profile goes, and then it's word of mouth, and then it just like goes from one to the other.
Yeah, and people just asking you on the bank. A lot of people like don't know necessarily that I do coaching days. I think a few more people do now, and they just say, you know, could you show me your shallow fishing? I'll explain that I do coaching days and stuff like that. So I get a lot of me coaching on the bank as well.
Right.
So.
Is it seasonal for you, Chris? Are you like me? Do you like stop around sort of October time and start up in March?
Yeah, as soon as it goes where I feel like we're going to sit down on our peg and the fish are going to back away from us, I'm going to stop. If we have a bit of a mild winter and we're going into, like last year, into November and December, the fishing was still actually quite good.
Yeah,
the weights on the covies here were still over £100 at times, even into December. Yeah. So I was still coaching a little bit later last year, but obviously I've had to start, because we've had a bit of a longer winter going into this year, I've had to start a bit later this year as well.
So, as regards to your coaching, are you coaching every day and fishing matches at the weekend, or is it like certain times at matches throughout the week and then coaching on the other days, or how are you working it?
My usual coaching days are like Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. I try to fill my Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays up first.
Yeah.
Because obviously if I've got an option to fish a match, it's normally Tuesday or Thursday midweek. So I leave them free. But then as soon as I've filled my Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays up, if anyone else wants a coaching day, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm happy to coach as well. I can always fill in then as well.
And are you finding sort of like, obviously, me and Jay have talked about this before. You're not saying much today, you, Richard?
You're talking a lot.
Yeah, sorry. I do like to waffle, as you know, folk. Me and Jay have talked about this before, Chris, in the fact that obviously myself, Jamie, Bagger, we're all in sort of like the same catchment area, but we're always busy with it. We never took business off one another. Are you finding the same, obviously, now? Because Chris Weeder Jr. is doing a bit of coaching still, and all this, that and the other.
I think the areas, and especially this fishery in particular, is just so big for match fishing and fishing in general. Like, you come here sometimes midweek and there's pleasure anglers on every lake. There's so many anglers, isn't there? And everyone's keen to get out and get fishing, so I think it's good. From
that respect, we're saying there's potential for other people to become a coach.
100%. I think
so many, obviously, fantastic, phenomenal young anglers out there in a minute, and you know what I mean? For me, Chris, I don't think the time's ever been better to, like, if you wanted to do something in this sport, like obviously coaching, going down that path, or, you know, obviously being a full-time angler, I don't think it's ever been better. The likes of the big competitions, there's so many of them about. Midweek matches, you can just come here all the time, couldn't you?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. Literally
phenomenal.
Matches all through the week, isn't there, and stuff. It's good.
Oh,
good
mate,
place.
It's brilliant.
I suppose that's sort of one of the discussions as well, obviously. When when you were
Are
young...
you talking? Bloody hell, Richard's talking. Go on.
I was waiting to get a word
woke
in.
Sorry, mate, go on, go on.
Because obviously the route you went down with sort of international fishing and all
Yeah.
that side of things, that was almost the accepted route, I think, back then, wasn't it? But obviously...
I think so. I mean, obviously, we'll touch on it more when we're going into it for the members, Chris. But you've been down that route as well, haven't you? Fishing
Yeah.
England under 18s.
Yeah, I think it was just obviously when you're younger and you're not really
what's changed in
sure.
that respect, though? Because I know for me, it was pennies, and I didn't really like team fishing.
Yeah.
That's what changed it for me. Are you similar, or?
I think for me it was more just, obviously it was the commercial side of fishing that I enjoyed most.
Yeah.
I almost sort of did it because England, you want to go and represent your country
yeah.
more than actual enjoyment of that style of fishing and stuff like that. Even though I do enjoy it every now and again, it's not the sort of fishing I'd want to do and focus on sort of week in, week out. I just love this. I love this style of fishing. There's so many little different tweaks and stuff, and I just enjoy it. I thrive off this sort of environment, so I think that's why I ended up following the path that I did in the end.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of travel involved, a lot of expense and everything like that, and the fishing wasn't great, to be fair, was it?
No,
You know what I
the
mean?
fishing's always difficult when you go abroad, isn't it, on them matches?
Completely different.
Because did you go straight, like, what was your path in? Was it sort of straight onto commercials, or did you dabble on canals and stuff when you first got into it?
No, literally, when I started fishing just on a little pond by my house.
How old were you when you started, Chris?
Probably about 10.
Oh, right, so late.
So I
quite
probably
late
went
on
pretty
then.
quick from first fishing to starting fishing matches. And what happened, my great uncle, he used to take me fishing. He used to fishing, and when I started, he'd come back to fishing. And we used to just go to the local fisheries near me, Yew Tree Fishery, Four Oaks Fishery, just local fisheries. And I actually used to fish some of the junior opens, and I met Matty Dawes on the junior opens at Four Oaks.
Yeah.
And then he was fishing with Airbus Club, so I was quite quickly fishing with the club, and then it's just gone pretty much within 2 years, just like I say, starting. I was probably fishing opens with it by the time I was sort of 12 or 13.
Mate, I think I remember the first time I met Chris was, remember Junior Match Aid with Paul? That was the first time I met him. You'd have been, what you'd have been then, 14, 15?
Probably about 15, yeah.
Something like that, when you had them matches on the arena and everything.
Yeah.
And then I've seen you with Jay a couple of times, and well, like Cudmore, like right back in the day. And just to watch this lad's progression, folks, it's just phenomenal, like, for where you are now.
Yeah.
Fair play, mate. Makes me sick, though, that he can win all these big matches and catch loads of fish and, like, fish proper and catch them, whereas I've got to not have a float on. But joking apart, we've got to have a float on now. But yeah, no, it's brilliant, mate, and it just shows you, if you really want something, it can be achieved now.
And it's
there's
enjoyment as well.
time.
You just got to enjoy what you're doing, I think. I like...
Do you still love it?
I still love it.
Is it still a hobby for you? Like, for me, it's still a hobby. I absolutely love
100%.
fishing.
Like, I've been out coaching. Well, for example, I've been out 3 days this week already fishing and coaching. And even yesterday, after my third day of coaching very similar stuff and fishing I'm hard to get off the box. It's like,
I'm glad
the
you said
people I'm
that.
coaching are like, it's time to go sort of thing.
My
I'm there
favourite-
catching just one more cart down the edge. That's just the way I am, and I think I can't see that changing anytime soon. I just love it. So
my favourite sayings, Chris, when I'm out is like, is it my go yet? Gives a go. Right, I'll go and get the bruising and make yours extra hot, so you like need a load of wee-wees and I can get in your
yeah,
box.
that's the
That's
one.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
Why? Does making it hotter make you want to wee?
No, like, it takes it longer to drink, but if I get loads of brews and then want loads of wee-wees, booze hard, you know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. But yeah, no, mate, I love that. That response is, for me, is mint. I'm 20 years older than you, Chris, and I still, the passion for it. I still get sleepless nights now. I absolutely do.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Oh, mate, fair play. Fair play.
Because that's one thing we do get a lot of is sort of young gang,
Yeah.
like
What are you
kids,
sponsored?
teenagers.
How'd you get sponsored?
Yeah.
No, like
See that for Jamie.
what your advice would be, and then that's probably worth touching on as well, because you're quite unique on the fact that you're at this level winning what you're winning and you're not linked to any companies and stuff, so that
makes it a little bit obviously more believable in the fact that you're using what you feel is the best gear.
Yeah, and I think
rather than being tied to something.
That's one thing that's really important for me when I'm out coaching and ever coming out doing videos like this. I want to be as open and honest with everyone as I can. I want to be able to say this is the best float for the job, the best line, the best elastic, the best top kits, pole, everything. I want to be as honest as I can, and that's why I think obviously one of the reasons I'm not tied down to a company is that you can't, you sometimes have to use stuff that you don't really want to use or don't want to promote, and for me it's really important to be able to be honest with the people I'm coaching.
Like that.
And that's really important for me.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
No,
fair play.
it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's bang on. It's not even saying that certain companies make bad gear, but it's personal to
what
personal.
works well for you, yeah.
And when you look at, obviously, what you've got a proper mishmash of different stuff from different companies.
Every different company has a good few gems of products that are brilliant, and then products that don't work so well for you. And I just, like you say,
Is that because you're left-handed they don't work for you?
I think so. I think that's one of the reasons. I've got to get all the left-handed kit, yeah. No, but I think that's really important for me, just having the gear that... I think it helps with my matches as well, and the way I fish, being able to get every last little aspect of me fishing equipment the way I want it.
You're just so much in tune with that, and you know exactly what's where, what goes where, and like you set up, you're like literally, folks, honestly, he's got his top kits out today, he's set up in seconds. I'd be still putting rigs on.
No plummets required today, was there though,
Andy? No plummets required. We like days like that, to be fair, yeah, we do like days like that. But no, it's mint, mate, it's all good.
That is part of it, partridge though, isn't it? Because it's a lot, especially on the covers, it's all such similar gear. It's, you can come here week in, week out, and it's almost same rigs every time.
It's amazing how even it is as well. Like I was coaching yesterday on Lake 6, and we could use the same rig for in the mud as down the edge, perfectly the same. And it was the same on the match on Tuesday. You know, like the depths are all perfect, it makes it dead easy. You hardly need any rigs really, and you can have them all set up on your short kits ready to go, and you're straight there and you're into it, aren't you?
Right. So changing the subject, getting back onto the topic. You went off a bit then, Richard. How dare you? It doesn't matter. So what does the future hold then, Kristian? Are you just going to continue? And to be fair, I'm going to say it now. To be fair, I think this lad's going to dominate. I mean, he's dominating now, but I think within 10 years, I don't think we're going to see the likes, mate. Honestly, with what you're doing for the big events, I think it's probably going to be in Fish Off for the next 10 years, folks, and just win it every time. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
Them kind of venues. It's still something you want to do though, and obviously just be involved with.
Yeah, because like I say, at the minute I don't get to the stage where I'm getting stressed out by qualifiers or anything like that. I enjoyed the days out.
You're qualify first goals every time, Chris. Come on, give someone else a chance, mate.
The way we try and do it, I've got a good few mates who I go fishing with. Your likes of Kieran, Alan, Matty Dawes, people like that.
Yeah.
We travel together, we have a laugh, we have a bit of banter on the phone.
That's the thing, isn't it?
We get, you know what I mean, and we have a good time with the qualifiers. If we have a bad day, you know, a bit of banter to Kieran has a bad day. What have you done wrong today? Or he'll give it me back the day after, or what.
That's what it's all about.
And we're trying to learn all the time. So at the minute, I think
you're in with a real good mix of people, like phenomenal anglers, and it's that pooling of information, sharing it together, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing. I just enjoy it and just keep sticking to it. And
that mentality is massive, though, isn't it?
Oh,
because I think you said something similar on the Guru podcast, and I'm sure I sent the clip to Jamie. I was like, it is a proper nice way of looking at it, but we were saying it this morning as well, that when you draw your peg and just go into it with the right attitude, where you see it so, especially on qualifiers and when people know the venue a bit, you draw a peg, half the people are beat before they've even gone to the peg, but just going in and being like, I've got a chance off this, I can do this, do that.
Yeah.
Getting into that mindset's massive.
I think that's something I've learned. Obviously, maybe when I first started qualifiers, it was a bit like that. If you draw a peg and you think, well, it's not the winning peg, you do get your head down a little bit when you're first starting. But now that I've done it a lot of times, I've sort of learned from experience of you're not always going to draw a peg with a chance, but there's always something to learn or something to take for next time you go, or something like that, because you're always going to the same sort of venues every year.
I was going to say, you know, certainly on the lights of here, as soon as your hand goes in there, you know it so instantly. It's like when I drew Marsh of the week, instantly my head's gone down, I went to IKEA.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I went and fished it. But I think sometimes it's better to go on venues that you don't really know, and then it just makes you fish, doesn't it?
Balding yesterday is like prime example. I think it's been a couple of years since it was in the qualifiers. People went yesterday with open mind.
Yeah.
I think everyone I spoke to is like, do you know anything about Baldings? I didn't know, they didn't know, and I think everyone just went and fished hardly seen it, and there was some brilliant weights, weren't there? And
phenomenal.
I think everyone I spoke to said what a brilliant venue Baldings is.
Oh,
so
you've got to get on that
looking
one. No, in
forward
fact,
to
don't
going
go
there.
on it, mate. Give someone else.
He doesn't need to. He's already got a place.
I know he has. But no, fair play, mate. What you're doing is phenomenal. Stick at it. It's just awesome, mate.
Is there any that stand? Obviously, you've qualified for a few now. Is there any that stand out as pegs you've drawn and you're like, probably not got a chance on there, or don't fancy it, and then it has come good, or has it all been ones where you're like, you've drawn it and you've known?
When thinking of ones where I've qualified, to To be fair, probably at the weekend on Saturday was probably one that I was a bit... I drew me peg on Covey 1, and I know Covey 1's fishing well at the minute, and I thought peg 6 on Covey 1. And I looked at the wind, because I always look at wind direction and stuff like that, and I looked at the wind and I thought, oh, it's going to be blowing out my peg. And I walked my gear up the hill, and I'm like, there's no one on peg 8 or 10 at the minute, and I'm thinking, oh, I hope one of them don't turn up. That could help me out, do you know what I mean? And I went and put my gear down on my peg, and I was setting up, and then Jack Howarth come to peg 10, so I thought, oh, I was expecting someone to come to peg 8, and then I think it was Francis O'Reilly or someone said, oh, peg 8 hasn't been drew. And then it was like, then I really did fancy it then. But it's amazing how often that sort of thing happens on them qualifiers, where someone gets a bit of room or...
A bit of luck. You do need a bit of luck,
that little bit of luck that wins it for you. It happens all the time, I think, in them sort of qualifiers, and you just get your day, don't you? But that's probably the one. All the other ones that I can think of when I've qualified are days where I've drew and I thought, oh, I proper fancy that.
Do you get... Or do you feel any pressure when you sort of draw a peg, you're like, it's got a chance, or are you still quite Bennett
No,
attitude?
I think as long as I'm going and I'm catching straight away, which again, all the days that I can think of when I've qualified has been like that. It's just been my day and everything's worked. I'd imagine, you know, if you go in and it's not working, I think, and you feel like you're messing your peg up, you could get like that. But I'm normally pretty chilled out about it. I'm like, I drew a great peg on Sunday at Tunnel Barn 15 hard.
I remember, I've read your report.
And I proper fancied that, and I thought, in my head, to be honest, I thought the best way of getting a good day's fishing would be to target F1s, fish like that. But I thought the best chance of winning the match would have been catching carp. And I know Jamie, every time he goes on that peg, he's drew it a few times. He catches big weights of these big carp, being patient, fishing hard pellets. So I probably actually deviated away from the style of fishing I do a lot. And I didn't have the greatest of matches, but I don't let it get my head down, or I don't get really that panicked about it.
I think it's almost good that baggers had that kind of weight in it, because if it had been like 120 pounds and you look back and think, you know what I mean?
But I felt that's the thing as well. I knew that Andy was there, and I'd been on that peg the week before on the Friday Open, the one that Andy had drew, and I'd had a really good day. I mean, mate Al was on the peg next door, and he had 200 odd pounds, so I did fancy Andy for the win. But I knew obviously my best chance of beating Andy was to catch big carp, and it never happened. But I don't then, you know, beat myself up for it. The next match I come out here, I learnt from my mistakes. I tried to alter it, and I had a good day. So
brilliant. That's what it's all about, learning from mistakes. So going forward then, Chris, obviously we talked about the official final, obviously, that you're in, the Golden Reel, the Maven Match this.
Yeah.
Festivals, anything like that? White Takers, Golden Rod, anything like that that tickles your fancy, or are you just going to
Yeah, so we normally go on the similar sort of festivals every year, to be fair. There's some really good ones now, and you sort of have to pick which ones, because there's so many good ones.
The Westwood ones that you go on?
Yeah, we normally do.
Westwood! Come on, Rich, we didn't say it. Westwood!
2 Divers at Westwood. They're always brilliant festivals. It's brilliant. You went there, obviously, had a look round last year. I bet you can see why we like going there.
Mate, so if I'd have been on like where Jamie drew when he qualified last week, that pub there, I don't think I'd have been on Jamie's peg, I'd have been in the pub.
Awesome.
Nice pub, that Richard, isn't it?
That's a brilliant venue. So many fish in there.
Yeah.
Accommodation's great. Everything's on site, so that's brilliant. We love going there. I go on a few of the festivals at Weston. Obviously, that's like the venue where I started fishing matches. Still love going back there all the time. Fishing's brilliant there. Same again, all the accommodations on site. You've got the pub on site. You've got the tackle shop.
Stop it.
Lindome, always go on the festival in July at Lindome. That's always a perfect week for just catching a load of fish. I think everyone that week catches more fish in that single week than they do the rest of the year. It's just absolutely solid on that for that week. Like, everyone's weighing 200, 300 pounds in. It's brilliant fishing. That's just one of them weeks where you just go, feed a load of bait and catch a load of fish and have a good week. I always go on that. And then the 2 pole masters, the summer and at Tunnel, and they're normally the main festivals what we fish.
And there's more creeping up now, aren't there, with obviously the Catchmore and on the Flyer TV.
Gaz is doing a lot of good events as well.
So much choice out there.
Booked on the Meadowlands, the Monk Hall as well. So there is loads of festivals I'm forgetting probably that I am booked on. Got loads. That's the thing. We've got so many good festivals now where the fishing's brilliant, the payout's brilliant. It's never been better, has it?
And obviously for the likes of you as a young angler, getting involved and getting set up, there's never ever been a better time for it than now.
It's brilliant.
But just to sort of round it off then, going down that young angler route, feels weird saying you're not young, but like the next group coming through, who are like the standout ones in your mind that you're like, he or she's going to be mega in a few years.
There's so many good ones now. Like on this venue in particular, there's a couple that come really regular, like Charlie Law and Harry Campbell.
Yeah, Charlie was
Harry
next.
on the match today. They both win so many, and they're a lot younger than me, and probably a lot younger than I was when I was doing as well as what they're doing now. You know, like I've seen Charlie was second in the qualifier at the weekend. Probably other than Andy's exceptional weight, he was, you know, the best weight of a real tight match. For the rest of it, he probably was unlucky there not to qualify. I know he was next to Kieran, and Kieran said how good a match he fished on the weekend.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it's good to see how many good young anglers there is, because it's good for, I think, matches going forward. We need more and more of them sort of anglers who are so keen and going into match fishing as opposed to sort of other things.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it works better if someone who's like 13, 14, dabbling in a bit of match fishing sees someone who's like 16, 17 winning matches like that. That does a lot more than seeing you
winning matches.
Seeing Jamie win some.
Yeah,
Not seeing you compete.
It's frightening. Like Harry Campbell, every time he goes fishing, he's won or he's in the frame.
I love his cap. He always wears that same tri-cast cap.
Brilliant.
He goes old enough, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Right angler, Harry is.
When they're off school, he just takes a piss down there, doesn't he?
That's it. Unbelievable. But no, there's never been a better time for it. So all for you young anglers out there, you know, want to follow in the footsteps of Chris here, just get on it, see what happens. But obviously get your education first.
Did you do that?
No, but that was because I wanted to, but I just wasn't very academic.
Well, did you do like uni or anything? Just going off on a tangent.
No, I did A level, but I think all through A level I was too busy.
Have you heard him A levels? Did he do A levels?
I started them and never
Oh,
finished
for
them.
goodness sake!
I think I was too busy tying ups and going on matches and festivals.
Ask me how many A to C's I got.
I was trying to be Terry Earn at that point, and
Oh, were you? Carpe. They couldn't see you. That's why. Camouflage, wasn't it? Yeah. So you got loads of A to C's and everything at school. You're proper clever.
I was all right at GCSE, but like I say, when I went into A level, I was probably too focused on my fishing by then.
All right, yeah, fair play. Didn't get many A to C's. But yeah, no, that rounds it off. No A to C's.
Right, so we hope you are enjoying the video that you're watching. If not, have just watched. But what we'd also like you to see is the packages that we include for our more technical, informational stuff, where what we can bring to you is all we pretty much know about the technical side and our match style side of fishing.
I'm
what
not
we
in
have,
this bit.
you are, of course you are in this bit. We have two sides of things. We have the basic package that for $4.99. You can watch us fish live matches, a Q&A every month, and additional stuff from Matty Dawes with live matches and more technical stuff on his side. Or we have the all access package where you can literally see technical insights, live matches from us, but also some of the best anglers flipping on the planet. I mean, we treat it as 3 days coaching for us, and we go out and we show you what we're learning for anglers like Darren Cox, Andy Bennett, Des Ship, to name but a few. Well worth a look if you fancy having a little bit more fishing content to watch.